Here we are, guys. We're back in the shop, and today we have this Gateway AMD 64 processor made for Windows XP back in 2005. All right, guys, here we are. So normally when you find this stuff out in the wild, it will be missing parts, things like that. You never know what kind of shape. I got a few videos of some really crazy looking stuff. Anyways, this one was missing its RAM sticks. For you guys that are wondering what a RAM stick is, it's this guy right here. People extensively go after those gold fingers and these BGAs. People will buy these online. They make a living off of it, and you can actually make a pretty good living off of just those if you buy them. But this computer didn't have any, so we don't have to worry about that right now. But what else is going on inside? Well, you're gonna have some slot cards. What is a slot card? Well, this is a slot card. So it comes out of the computer just like that. Dells usually have a flippy-do on the back. Some of them will have screws in them, but you can find them. You can tell how many is inside of a computer by how many slots are taken out of there. You'll see them in the back. This one is just a smaller, simple one, but it sure does look like it's gonna have some gold flashing. It has some gold fingers right here, and it's got gold flashing underneath of that screw there and over here. So we're probably gonna take that off. There's some silver. We'll look at that more later. All right, so you got a couple more connectors on the board, and underneath the connectors, those are going to be gold pins. So those gold pins probably are going to, reciprocate into these connections, and they do. So then you take your clippers, you whack-a-do, and you throw them over there, bing, bang, boom, in your gold connector bin. And you don't have to do nothing else with them. You don't have to think about them for right now. Collect them up and get rid of it. That one has gold in it as well. Very nice. So there you go. And then you just get rid of them, get them out of your way. Why mess with them any longer than you have to? All right. So what else? So all this is going to be insulated number 2 wire at your yard, most likely. I can't say what your yard is going to give you for it. That's completely up to them. But this is going to be a fan right here, obviously. But hey, I can show you how to get a little bit more money out of this fan. So you have your fan. Well, what do you do with your fan? It's connected to your motherboard right here. And that's not showing any gold in that connector, and there probably isn't really a reason why it would be gold, and I'm betting that that is not. Some people say they could be possibly silver. I'm not sure. For my bang for my buck right at the moment, I'm going to take this number 2 insulated wire. My yard will let me keep the ends on it, so I just do, and it goes over in my wire pile. What do you do with the fans? Well, the fans, you can keep them like this. Your junkyard is not going to take them like this as copper-bearing motors. They're probably going to downgrade you significantly. That's up to you. What I do is I just take my clippers and we go through and break off, and they're all built exactly the same. I mean, darn near down to the dimensions, they're built the same. So you can crack that off. Unfortunately, that's going to be a little plastic. So you go ahead and get your number 2 wire out of there. Why throw it away? More plastic, unfortunately. But then you can take these, you can clean it up a little bit. Yeah, that goes flying a little bit, it happens. Clean it up a little bit more, and you take these fan blades and you break them off. And they come right off. I'm trying to do it so you can see it, but I'm trying not to drop them into the computer because I don't want to have to mess with them again. But you break it off of there, you get the idea. And this is going to be either A, you can put it in copper-bearing material, copper-bearing motors. Most junkyards will take it for something, but discuss it with your yard and figure out what they're going to take it for. But we'll put it over here for now. A lot of people don't tell you starting is you got to be careful who and where you get your stuff from. You may find yourself on the wrong side of a deal there, and yeah, you're going to be out of money, you're going to be out of product, and you're going to be out of patience. That is for sure. I've never had it happen. I've heard of it happening, and that's why I take the precautions as I do already. But that's just me, I run a small business this way, and this is how I run my business. And it usually works out a pretty good business model for myself. I get everything for free, and it doesn't cost me anything. And I go pick it up for them. I get a pretty good, little feeling of doing something good for the neighborhood. And they get rid of their stuff for free. I scrap out the steel. My steel goes to local scrappers, so then they can pick up steel for free. This is a DVD drive. This is a rewritable. This one might actually be nice enough to keep. I don't know. I don't keep stuff, but I got a whole collection over there of I'm going on 50 floppies and all sorts of stuff, 60 of these, 50 of these. Anyways, we'll look into that. I spent 15 years of my life helping people get jobs. And then after a while, I just decided, hey, why can't I do that for myself? And hey, here we are. You guys are listening to me ramble while I struggle with this. And this is a slot card or a card reader, and it's got USB on it and stuff like that. So we'll get this apart. So that was basically that. Now we have the motherboard and the hard drive. All right, 250 gig. We'll look at it closer. That's the hard drive. So what now? Well, this is just steel. That's it. That's all it can be. As glorious as it once was as a product, it is now scrap steel. All right, so here's your main copper bearing material. You have the ribbon cables. After I cut those ends off, put them in your number 2 wire, insulated there. These you'll have to talk to your own, but those are the copper motors. Yeah, you have a bunch of wire that came from the power supply. You got a little more wire that came from the power supply. You got the wire that came from inside the computer and the power wire. People are gonna ask about stripping this. If you wanna strip this wire, you're gonna break it down and it's gonna look like that. You're not gonna wanna do that. You're gonna take a bunch of weight off that insulation for nothing, and then the scrapyard's gonna give you even less for it. So you don't wanna do that. You don't wanna strip down this particular wire. There's a whole bunch of it. Why leave it, or just leave it the way it is? And now, if you were to leave these plugins on your wires, you're going to be throwing away free gold. Well, how can you tell the difference? If you get one that's not gold, you sure can tell the difference. So, hey, take a minute. Look at the black ones especially, or the off color. Usually they'll catch your eye. Sometimes they'll sneak in on you, but for the most part, you can bet that they're brass. This goes in my gold plug-in jug right here. Yep, I got a bunch of different things that I need to sort out. I got brass tidbits, and I got copper, and I've got tons of other goodies. Oh, I got some magnetrons, yeah, if you didn't know. A few other things. That's all. That's some of my stuff. So what's next? We got the power supply. So inside the power supply here, we're gonna get our pointer. And so what's happening? Well, you're gonna have another one of those copper bearing fans right here. You take them out, you crack off them fan blades, and there you go. You got some free copper. I took all the wiring out of this one here. This is the exact one that came out of that particular computer. But so we can see a little better in here because people want to get a little better shot. So why not? So first, let's start off with, you got your copper donuts. You crack a do with your hammer, and that ferrite breaks, and that's copper number 2. And you collect those guys up. That's free copper, and you will find them everywhere. They do exist. They are everywhere, and that's free copper. So what else? Well, you got your aluminum heat sinks. We got an example of both right here. This is going to be sheet aluminum at most places because if you can see, they cut it and then they bent it and they pronged it out like that. This is going to be extruded aluminum. This is pushed through a die. It's made to form like that, and that is a very good example of 2 different aluminums. This one's going to be extruded. This one is going to be sheet aluminum at most yards. My yard takes that as extruded because they just don't have the time to separate it. What else? You're going to see some copper transformers in here. Usually they're pretty pointed out because they got that yellow tape around a majority of them. This guy is a little different looking, but there you can see it. They're hard to get into, but you crack them off the boards and wackadoo. There's some free copper, or you leave them like that. You throw them in with your fan motors and you have copper bearing material. You can see another one of those copper donuts right back there. They hide everywhere. You got to look at them. These are going to be capacitors. A lot of people will just pass them up. I throw them in my aluminum cans. Why? Because it's just like collecting aluminum cans. I have over 800 pounds of aluminum cans. Why? Because aluminum is money. What else? You're going to see some IC style chips. It's going to end up having a gold bond wire that attaches to that die. If it has gold, I'm not sure if it will or it won't, but who knows? I collect them up nonetheless. You find them everywhere. Here's another little guy right here. These are little 3-leg resistors or transistor packs right here. Transistor packs. You see one here and you see one there. Those will go in the same process as these IC chips, and they do contain gold. You can see over here, photo sensitive diode. I'm not sure, correct me if I'm wrong, but those I know are equivalent to an LED. Yes, LEDs even have a little bit of gold in them. But what else are we going to have? There's some more copper. Let's explore this board, make sure we get everything in here for everybody, because people say I leave stuff, and I do, because I'm trying to help. All right, so there's more disc capacitors. These are going to have silver in them, majority from what I know. I know people say they don't. Some people say they do. I'm going to keep them, and I'm going to find out my process. And here's a 4-leg package. That is like a MOSFET as far as it is in my world, and that's going to get wackadoodle off the board, and it's going to have some gold. It's going to have a lot of copper in there, and you see another IC chip in the back. Did we miss anything? Yep, these MOSFETs are just like that 4-leg package I just showed you. They're going to have copper underneath that plastic, and if you bring them into your scrapyard and they tell you they're not going to give you any money for them, then you turn around, go out. By the time you hit to the parking lot, they're going to come out and ask you how much you want for them. That's right. You work hard for your money, so do they. So everybody get along. You go to your scrapyard, talk to them. Make sure you talk to them and figure out what they're going to give you. So on an unrelated side note, everybody asks me if it's worth keeping your aluminum. Well, let me just say, yeah. So you keep the aluminum, you keep all your heat sinks, stuff like that. This is all extruded aluminum. And yeah, that sure does look neat, but it all adds up. And these things start to weigh a lot. Some of these weigh 1.5 pounds a piece. And I don't know what that is right now off the top of my head. I'm sorry for everybody else in the world. But right now you're looking at copper. That's a copper stacker. You pop right out of there, you whack a do with a hammer, it comes out. That goes from dirty copper or even dirty aluminum. Don't let your scrapyard give you dirty aluminum for this. This is not dirty aluminum. This is, if anything, dirty copper. But you whack a do it out, and then you upgrade that to clean extruded and clean copper. They may even give you number 1 or Bear Bright for that. That's up to you in your scrapyard. But yes, for my money, guys, don't get rid of your aluminum. You find it everywhere, from satellite dishes, table saws, all the way to your carpenter's levels. That's right. This is not sheet aluminum. This is extruded aluminum. So for all you guys, don't get rid of your aluminum. Keep it. Save it up. Have a friend help. Bring it to the scrapyard. Negotiate what they're going to give you for it. They'll say 10 cents on the pound. You'll laugh. They'll laugh. Then you really talk about what they're going to give you for it. All right, with all that out of the way, I promised you gold. Here it is. Let's get to the fun stuff. And I tell you what, for all you guys, if you're learning something new or you're new to the channel, go smash that like, share, and subscribe button. It keeps the lights on. It keeps my dragon inflated. Hey, so let's see. Where's my pointer? There it is. We got our pointer. Okay, these are going to be gold connections in these. And everybody has a little different process. They all end up about the same. You crack them open, and there's going to be gold pins on them. You throw them in your stock pot. There you go. I put them in my gold connectors jar right over there. So there's that guy. Okay, what's next? You're going to have that hard drive. That hard drive has some pretty nice gold pins inside of it. You know, they're really reflective. They're really, you know, the deeper the color, the better the coating on the gold plating. So that's good. But you're also going to find that it has gold plating. A lot of them will have gold plating up underneath the motor and a few other things. So yes, we will enter into that. Like I said, I got a lot that we need to get through on that. So we'll do their own video on the hard drives. This is that 260 gig, 250 gig, 250 gig hard drive. So yeah, what's next? We got the RAM sticks. These are just, you know, in case this is your guys' first video on a computer, these are RAM sticks. These guys are super nice. They're going to have some gold fingers. Everybody knows about them gold fingers. You crack them off with your pliers or whatever you got. You bing, bang, boom, throw them in your stock pot, and you got free gold. These are BGAs. They got a bunch of balls underneath of these, and every one of those balls represents a gold hair that goes to a bond wire in the center. You scrape all these off, take that sticker off of there, scrape all these off. You do the same thing on the back side, and there you save up all those chips, and then you have a process. You all have a party, and you go and you put them in with your other plastic stuff, and you incinerate them. There's a little step to the process, and we will get there on this channel. What is this? This is that slot card that had that metal bracket on it. I took the metal bracket off because then you guys can start to see that gold flashing. Yeah, it's very thin, but it is there. It exists, and so are these fingers. These fingers are very thin, but you can go sell these boards online as is right now if you want and get pennies on the pound for them. Personally, I'm going to take that coating off of this because you can see the gold where the pins normally would go through the board. I'm thinking that might have some gold underneath that green conformal coating, and I have a process to do that. So we will take care of that later. And look at the back, has some nice gold flashing. So this board has some promise. It's small, but hey, don't let it fool you. It's got some free gold on there. What else? We have this. This is that card reader where you'd put your picture cards in and everything else. And look at all those nice gold pins. That's nice gold. That's nice flashing. Hey, there's more gold pins back here. It's everywhere. It really, truly is. It's inside of that USB. And on the back, you got free gold flashing. You got an IC chip, again, for you guys. That all those legs represent a gold hair that goes into that bond wire. Some of them don't, but a majority of them do. That I find, especially when they're on gold flashing boards, you can pretty much bet the bank that that's going to have gold in it. If it does not, I'm sorry. That's going to have silver in it. That is a silver crystal oscillator. I do believe, I don't know what the number's on there. I think it's a frequency. It doesn't really matter. I know that has silver. I know there's a lot of work involved in getting that, but hey, it doesn't stop us from keeping them. And there's a little bonus. There's those other little pins that we've seen from the other side. So that's a beautiful little board from that computer we found in the middle of nowhere that was just going to sit there and rot. And I know everybody already sees that CPU, but you know, this motherboard has some stuff to be had. If you come in here, so first you're going to see these pins. These pins are nice, nice gold-plated pins. You can see them all over the board. They exist all over the board, and they're there. And there's a process to get them out with a little bit of heat. If not, there's a process to get them out with that depot box right there. So you can get these off, and there's a lot of gold in there. And I'm actually working right now on a particular process to have that happen. I, however, do not feel comfortable enough in my own knowledge to do that yet. So until that happens, we won't have it on this channel, but it will happen. So there's gold pins and everything, even little pieces that you see everywhere. There's going to be gold inside of this little plastic. I know my fingers are dirty because I just scrapped out a nasty computer. Yeah, that's going to be gold inside of there. So there is free gold. Everybody thinks I'm clickbait, but I'm not lying. Hey, there's gold inside these connectors. There's more gold inside of there. There's going to be a removable IC chip that is going to have gold inside of that. There's another nice flat pack right there. That's going to have some, what else? Well, we got copper. These are copper ferrite. You can wackadoo them and keep the copper, or you can leave them as is and sell them as copper bearing material. I'm going to take these capacitors off, throw them in with my aluminum cans, and boom, there's some more free aluminum. We're going to have RAM slots. These RAM slots are a pretty good place to find nice little gold that you put in your stock pot over there. Crack these off, and that acid will eat that away, and you will have some nice gold. Yes, people are like, it can't be that easy, and I thought the same thing until I found out, hey, there's some more copper. You wackadoo that with your hammer, it cracks right open, it comes off the board, and that's copper number 2. And if people want to know what copper number 2 looks like, that is all copper number 2. But hey, it all adds up. That jar will fill up, and you put it off to the side. And there's going to be more pins, and these guys are more gold pins. These look a little less gold-ish than the other ones, so that's okay. But there's more gold to be had right here. I mean, that's just neat. Look at that. There's more gold pins. There's more IC chips. We'll get down and in on that. There it is. There's another little teeny tiny IC chip. And all these things with numbers, those are thick film resistors on the board. Some people say they have some silver in them. Some people don't. And you're going to see these guys right here by the screwdriver. That is MLCC. That is a multi-layer capacitor. Some people say they have silver in them. Some people say they don't. I don't know. I don't pass them up. And hey, there's some more gold pins hanging out right there. I told you, I promised you gold, and here we are. There's another, I lost my pointer, and there's another silver crystal oscillator right there. And I know people are going to see that box and think, hey, that's a tantalum. No, I'm sorry, that says D right there on the board. That means diode. That is not a tantalum capacitor. We will see if we can find one. But we're making our way through all of this stuff, and it's just crazy how much is actually on here. All these hard drive connections and everything else are going to have gold inside of them. There's more silver crystal oscillators, and I know you guys are seeing this. This is a BGA. You crack this guy off with your whatever you got, wood chisel. I like a wood chisel. You pop that guy off of there, and it's going to have gold inside of this epoxy. This whole thing's going to come off, and you're going to want to break that little green board off of there. These guys are terrible to get to. They're hard to get into, and I don't know how much gold is in them. We're going to process them later. I know everybody says they'll do it, and they never follow up on it, but I think I have a pretty easy process. It just takes a long time. Otherwise, you keep up these parts, and that's where your free gold is. I promise you free gold, and there's still more gold to be had. That is a flip chip. Everybody talks about flip chips. They don't have a lot of gold in them. They figured out a way to not have so much gold in them. That's okay. That's fine, because some flip chips, I tell you what, guys, you can find flip chips that do have have BGAs on the backside of them, and they are worth at least looking at. So what else do we have on the board? We covered silver, gold, copper. There's going to be some brass in these connections right here. There may even be some gold in those connectors back there. I'm trying to find a lot of these newer boards really don't have a gold ceramic gold band ceramic oscillator, but that's okay, because we got this guy right here. And I know all you guys probably already know it's an AMD. It was said in the title, what are you going to do? But hey, it's a decent one. So this heatsink is going to be copper. I know it looks like that, but if you run a file across it, you'll find it's a hefty little chunk of copper. Now, the thing that sucks is that these guys aren't so nice. I know it looks nice, and hey, those are some nice gold pins. Let's see if I can get it focused in on. Those are some nice gold pins. That provides some gold for your stockpile. Once we have enough saved up, we will process them in their own individual process. I know people are like, hey, you got a bunch of them, but no, I don't actually have a lot. I have some ceramic, I have some black fiber, I have some green fiber, I have some special ones, I have some I-Series, and I have some of these ones. I do have a bunch more laying around, but that's okay. We will get to those later. Each one of these is going to have just a variation of a process. They each have their own little step, and that's okay. So we're back to the DVD-R. Now, I know a lot of these are actually kind of impressive, and you can burn DVDs and you can burn CDs and so on and so forth. These are actually sought out by people. So I'm going to leave this guy just the way he is for now. So that is that. I think that's it. So is there gold in there? Well, of course there's gold in there. There's aluminum in there. I promise you gold. I gave you guys free gold. So I tell you what, again, if you guys learned something here today, don't forget to hit that like, share, and subscribe button. Leave a comment if you can teach me something new. And for all you fabulous subscribers, holy buckets, man, we're almost closing out week 6. We're sitting over 660 some at the moment, I think. I don't know, I haven't looked at the numbers, but we're pretty darn close. I know we're over 655 for a fact. So for all you guys, absolutely thank you. I'm losing my voice because I've been screaming into the camera for a month and a half now, but I love it, and I'm not going to stop. And we love this. I hope to hit 1,000. I hope you guys are enjoying it. So for my wife, my lovey, I love you. And for my kids, go wash your face.